This jug band.
Yeah, Memphis Jug Band, and then moved to Chicago in like early '60s. So, man with a lot of history. I was just telling Charlie how much I love his new recording. It's called Lookout Highway.
Which I happen to have a box of right here.
Yep, he's got it down right here.
Just a pure coincidence.
Like my main man, Mr. Zuzu Bowen, who recorded in the early '50s in Dallas, he used to tell me, he said, "It's a poor dog who won't wag his own tail."
I remember him.
Yeah, he was quite a character, good guy, great guy. Speaking of great guys, I know that you knew and hung out with so many of the guys in Chicago after you moved to Chicago.
Sure.
And I know you talked finally about Big Joe.
Big Joe Williams.
Yeah.
Baby Please Don't Go and Highway 49 Blues and bunch. Can't hear me?
Okay, let me switch out the mic. I think this one may be better for you. I think this one's got a little more girth.
Is this any better? Still sounds real bassy to me.
I'll go back and adjust.
Meanwhile, later that same day,
Put it on stand.
Sorry, I have a baby now,
oh,
so everything
see.
takes longer. Meet Charlie.
hi there,
This is Tomas.
Tomas.
Yes. He's a Mexican after
Hello,
all.
Tomas.
Hopefully he
¿Cómo
won't get.
está?
Hopefully he won't get deported. So, hey everybody. So I've been, since 10 o'clock this morning lessons, so I haven't had a chance to even have any lunch. So that's why I'm late, not because of the dog. So,
Blame it on the dog.
yeah, right. So, all right, well, I guess you've all met, have you met Charlie here? Okay,
Just got started.
okay, good.
We're waiting on you.
I know, I feel bad, I'm sorry. Actually, I wore this shirt because it's cold.
Oh, nice.
Secret code. Okay. Anyway, okay. So one of the first things I wanted to ask you about, so I don't forget, is recently you posted a thing, or I think you sent it to me in Messenger about Ann Arbor Blues Festival that you played at.
Oh, yeah.
And there was some names on there, and I want to hear about that. Some stories about that festival.
Well, it was one of the first, I don't know if it was the very first, but one of the first blues festivals. And a lot of guys were still living then. Buddy and Howard Walker, John Lee, and T-Bone Walker.
Yeah, T-Bone Walker was on it, right?
Yeah, Mama Thornton, and everybody. So it was a lot of fun, just all of us hanging out backstage. And it went on for like 3 days. And it was just a heck of a good time.
I bet. So I don't know anything about T-Bone Walker because he was gone long before I got into the blues. I mean, I know his music, but I don't know anything about him as a person or anything, and I'm curious.
Well, T-Bone enjoyed alcohol. And at the time, I did too. And And I usually would have a half pint in my pocket. I remember we were it was a blues festival at the college or the university in Berkeley, California. And it was indoors, this part. And T-Bone saw me and came straight over and said, "Man, you got a drink, you got a taste, don't you?" I said, "Well, yeah, but this is school grounds. You're not supposed to be drinking alcohol on the university campus here." And he said, "Well, if you're frightened, we'll go step into the stairway under the stairs." So we went under the stairs and drank that half pint. Then he went to work.
Wow.
He was a nice guy.
He was a nice guy?
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I know I've talked to you about all this stuff before, and I know, but I wanted them to hear about some other people that you met, like Little Walter, for instance. What was he like?
Little Walter, well, if you saw that movie Cadillac Records, he was like nothing like that guy. If Walter had seen that movie, it had really hurt his feelings to be betrayed like that. Because he was a pretty good guy. He loved to laugh and have a good time, and he was a great harmonica player, and just a nice guy as far as I was concerned. He was a tough guy. I mean, and they didn't call him Little Walter for nothing. He was a short guy, but pound for pound, he was a tough guy.
Kind of like my dog.
Yeah.
When he gets around big dogs, he's like, like. We got we got feedback here. We got some high end stuff going on.
Cheryl, do you want a chair?
Yes?
No.
Sure. Can you turn the snare off?
Yeah.
It's pleasant when it's off.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Little Walter. Well, I mean, that's the way he died, right? A knife fight or something. I mean, he died in a bar fight, right?
He died when he was gambling, and there was a fight, and he got hit in the head with a bottle, I think.
Really?
And but he didn't die right then. He died a few days later from, I think, a blood clot from being hit in the head. His girlfriend, I forgot her name, Madeline or something, I forget. But Walter was at her apartment watching TV, and she was walking around the house doing stuff, and she would walk through the room, and he'd be watching TV. And one time she came through, and he was asleep. And she said, if you're going to sleep, turn off the TV. And then she realized he was dead.
Oh my God! Wow. And he was only like 38 or something, right?
He was in his 30s. Yeah, it was 1968.
Wow.
I had just moved out to California about 6 months earlier. And the last time I saw Little Walter, well, he had these moods. Some nights he'd be brilliant, just playing great. And next night you'd see him and he'd be like, he couldn't play at all. Just kind of stumbling around or disgusted. The last time I saw him was in a club called Big John's, and the band was on the stage playing, and he was sitting in a chair right in front of the stage with his harp in one hand and the microphone in the other, and just staring at the floor. And I pulled up a chair next to him and I said, "Walter, what's wrong?" And he went, "Ah!" So I left. If you don't want to talk, I'm out of here.
Okay.
But he was, I mean, usually he was a lot of fun to be around, and he would often give me a ride home after the gig. And I remember there was guys that, Walter had been shot and he had a limp from being shot in the knee. And there was a couple of guys that were such in awe of Walter, trying to be like him, but they would actually limp like Walter. And I remember sitting at a table with Walter over break, and one of those guys walked by, and then Walter, I could see Walter just watching him, and he said, "Look at that fool."
That's funny.
Another time, I had gone to the restroom in this bar, this club where he was playing, and while I was in there, I heard this big commotion. And Walter opens the door and says, "Charlie, whatever you do, don't come out," and slams the door. So I just waited in the restroom till it sounded like the commotion was over. And then I really can't tell the whole story, but then Walter went with me to the bus stop, waited till the bus came to make sure I got out of there okay.
Wow.
It's a long story, but anyhow, one other thing.
Is that you? Is that that?
I had seen Walter Horton, also known as Big Walter or Shaky Walter,
Yeah.
playing in a club where he played fourth position he played in the key of A on a C harmonica. I'd never heard of such a thing. And it was a big eye-opener for me to discover that there was such a thing as fourth position. I'd never even heard of fourth position. So I saw little Walter a week or two later on 63rd Street in front of a club called the I Spy Lounge. And I told Walter about Shaky playing in fourth position, and I still remember little Walter just shrugging his shoulders and saying, "Ah, that ain't nothing. You can play an E on a C harmonica too," which is fifth position. This is also news to me, because up until that point, nobody talked about anything but first, second, and third, and I thought that was it.
Right. So what songs? Do you know some songs that are in fourth or fifth that Walter plays?
I don't know that they were either one of them ever recorded that stuff, but they sure knew about it.
Oh, okay.
And I heard Big Walter playing it. And that's where I got the idea that any octave you can find on the harmonica, there's got to be a way to play back and forth between those two notes, and you're in that key. So on the C harp, you got C on the 1 and 4 blowing out, you're in C, and then drawing, you're in D. Move it over 1, blowing out, you got E, and all like that. Almost interesting.
Yeah. Well, it gives you a lot more opportunities.
But the more the harmonica is one of the only instruments you can't see might be the only instrument, it's all covered up. You can't see what you're doing, you can't see what somebody else is doing. Every other instrument, the hands are in place somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a real strong mental image of the harmonica. And even if you don't play in these other positions, knowing about them, being aware of them, adds to that mental image. It gives you more geography to work with.
Cool. Let's see.
Big Walter had that huge tone. I remember
Yeah.
this little video clip and somebody saying, "Walter, how do you get that big tone?" And he said, "Hell if I know."
That's what I say too. It's like when I started playing. When I first started playing, I was talking to somebody, I think Doug, today. That's the one thing that, everything else, when people come up and say, "Oh, you're so talented, I wish I could play like you," and I'm like, yeah, 10,000 hours of talent, you know what I mean? Practice, 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 right? It wasn't easy. It didn't come easy to me. So, when what was I saying now? I just lost what I was saying.
Position?
So
Tone.
people would call me, even when I first started out, they would call me the Tone Queen. That was my nickname. And I couldn't play that well at all yet. I had just started. And so I feel the same way. I mean, I try to teach people how to breathe right from belly, but I wasn't doing that when I first started playing, so I don't know where it comes from. I would be the same way. Hell if I know.
Intention.
Intention?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of always tried to play good and keep working at it. And as a woman in a predominantly male field, I think I tried harder,
You're doing good.
Thanks. So, okay. I'm not looking for that. We're here for Charlie, not me. So, so let me see. I know you've got some entertaining stories about various people, and one of them is Big Mama Thornton. I love that story.
Which one?
Well, the one where she,
Driving?
oh, the driving? Yeah, that one, and the other one was where she,
The what? Oh, yeah.
you gotta tell it now.
Can you tell that one?
Well, I'll try. We were staying in Minneapolis, and we drove up to St. Cloud, where they were having another festival. And this was early on when they really didn't have festivals together so much like they do today. Like, for instance, there was no toilets backstage. And Mama asked me, Matt, where's the bathroom around here? I said, well, there's a porta potty way over on the other side of the, you have to go through the audience to the other side of this field. And I could tell she didn't like the sound of that. She's like, had her lip stuck out, looking around. There's all these cars parked back there. She's wearing overalls. She walks back in where those cars are and relieves herself wearing overalls. I wanted to see how she did that, but I didn't think that was appropriate to go look.
What was the other story you had about the driving?
Well, later that night, we were going to go back to Minneapolis, and Mama had her Cadillac there, and George Smith, another great harmonica player, was there. And the three of us were going back, and George is in the back seat, and I'm shotgun, and Mom was driving, and she's on the seat between us. She has a bottle of whiskey of old granddad, which she called old whiskers, and she's sipping on the whiskey and driving down the highway, and George is nervous because he's afraid there's going to be a wreck or something. He's got his arms up on the back of the seat, watching everything. Well, we come to this long curve, and there's these big barrels painted orange to light up during the night so you can see that there's construction going on or something. And Mama's going around the curve and hits one of those barrels. This confirms George's suspicions. And it says, he knew he was taking a chance. He got Mama, you want me to drive? Why do I want you to drive? Well, you hit that barrel back there. Well, I meant to hit that barrel.
Just like a man.
And on down the road we went.
That's hilarious. All right, let's see. I love to hear about how you got involved with the guys from the Buena Vista Club and did that record Continental Drifter, Iliad's Ochoa.
Well, I'd become a fan of Eliadis Ochoa and his group called Quarteto Patria from Santiago de Cuba. And to me, Eliadis is like the muddy waters of Cuba. This is in this traditional song style is like blues. I mean, they're singing about getting drunk and getting in trouble and my baby left me and all this stuff. And we're in Havana. These guys wear pleated pants and big ruffled shirts and their pants up to here. In Santiago, the eastern end of Cuba, it's real down home. There were cowboy hats and jeans, and they're down home. So anyhow, I really became a fan of theirs, and I knew a guy that could get all their CDs out of Cuba, and I knew all their music. It was really fascinating to me. So I'm at a festival in Bergen, Norway, and I got to talking to one of the promoters, and it turned out he was also a big fan of Eliadis Ochoa. And for us, this was the first time we ever meet another person that had ever even heard of Eliadis Ochoa. So it was really exciting to exchange information and talk about how much we like this group. Well, a couple of months later, I get a call from him saying, I found Eliana Sachoa and Quarteto Patria, and I'm bringing them to my festival, and I want you to come back. I thought, wow, maybe I'll get to sit in with them or something. I should get one of those. Back then, they had those DAT tape recorders, and I thought, maybe I should get one of those to take with me. I thought, well, you know, they probably have a studio there. We'll just record. We'll just go into a studio. And my wife, as my manager, arranged all that. And we got a duffel bag full of tapes, and we hired an engineer and went to Bergen, Norway, and they were all up for doing this. And so when we got in the studio, my idea was to do blues with a Cuban rhythm. So I played them some blues, and they had no idea about blues. They had never heard of B.B. King and Muddy Waters. And I could see this is going to be a problem. I said, don't worry. I know your music. I'm going to put blues lyrics to your tunes and play harmonica with you. And that's what we did. And it turned out, I thought it was really interesting, and they liked it too. An interesting thing later was I was talking to Elianis, and I said, I guess you never heard harmonica played with your style of music. And he said, well, no, it used to be part of the tradition, but there's no harmonicas left in Cuba. And I knew this guy that they had the Havana Blues Society, and I told him, I said, Eliana said there used to be the tradition of playing harmonica in Cuba to this traditional song style. Why don't you see if you can find some of those harp players? Well, he never found anybody, but the story he came back with was that there was some war in Cuba where the U.S. was there, I don't know what, early 1900s or something, and there was a black guy from the South named Smokey that was there and had fell in love and stayed in Cuba when that conflict was over, and he was a harmonica player. There you go. A blues player from the U.S. was playing along with him just like I did decades later.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing that record, and honestly, it's my favorite record of yours. I really love it. But is it still in print? Because I think I asked you this before.
No, the label went out of business, but I have the tapes, and I plan to issue them.
Oh, that would be great, because
Yeah.
I think you guys, I mean, if you look it up, you probably can find some of it on YouTube, but
Yeah.
it's a great record. It's a great record.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say about that?
It's still blues, even though it's different
Yeah.
chord progressions. I always say that even though everybody says blues is 1-4-5, and that's a convenient way to play blues, but blues can be played. That's what jazz is, you know, playing to different chord changes, still playing blues.
And then, like, you know, I remember one time for me, when on my record, I did an instrumental of Grazing in the Grass. And I remember sending it to you, and I remember you commenting and you know, telling me that I like the way you think. Because it was out of the box, you know, something different. I wanted to do an instrumental of a song that was a popular song that people would recognize the melody, but that never been done on harmonica, you know.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it is fun, and also amazing when all the notes lay out, because that is a rare happening. It's like, oh, you know.
Well, Grant Green is a jazz guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of his riffs are perfect for harmonica.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to check more of that out.
Yeah.
I love Grant Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's talk about some of your more modern stuff. You've done some collaborations with a lot of people, Ben Harper, Cyndi Lauper,
I think he did with
Elvin Bishop.
Oh, yeah.
What
you
the
know?
hell was going on?
Yeah.
Tell us some about those collaborations.
Well, Elvin and I have been doing these duo type gigs. Actually, it's a trio. Bob Welsh plays piano and guitar, backing us up. But Elvin and I just sit side by side, take turns doing tunes and telling stories in between. And just like we're sitting on the front porch. And it's a lot of fun for us, and the audience really enjoys it too.
Bob Wells was great.
Yeah, Bob is really a tasty player. And, a lot of times, Bob and I just do a duo together. He knows all the stuff.
I do want a chair. I think I want to sit down.
Yeah, I heard a radio show. It was John Hammond, you, and Duke Robillard. And I think the songs that I heard, I think Duke may have been singing, you were blowing harp, and John was playing, acoustic guitar. I don't know if it was something y'all did in studio for Sirius XM.
I have no memory of it. I know we did some gigs together, and maybe it happened at that point.
Yeah.
I don't remember the radio show. It could have been a live
Yeah.
recording.
So, you did some stuff with Ben Harper, right? You did some touring with him, right?
I was on the road with Ben for 4 years,
Wow.
and 2 years with Cindy Lauper. They were both a lot of fun.
Yeah. There was somebody else. The Blind Boys of Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
That was great too. That you did Down in the Hall. That song that's on The Wire, right?
Yeah, Tom Waits wrote that song.
Yeah.
And every season of The Wire had a different version of that song. And one season had the Blind Boys of Alabama version. And it's from an album called Spirit of the Century. David Lindley played on it, and I played on it. And I remember when they played Down in the Hole back, I had played this harmonica solo in 5th position, which gives you some tones that you don't usually hear. And when it came to my solo, and I took a solo, and on the playback, Lindley turns to me and says, "That's the shit." So, but then when they used that tune for the theme song on the TV show, Lindley's solo comes first, but they just skipped over it and went straight to my solo. And I thought, yeah, that's all right.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. I love that song, and I love Tom Waits. I mean, you guys like live near each other, right? In California.
Yeah, we still visit. I saw him not long ago. Have dinner together. Used to close down bars, now we close down restaurants.
I think he just seems like such an interesting person to be. I would love to meet him.
Oh, he is. I remember being in the studio with him, and my amp was feeding back, and I'm like trying to move it around so it'll quit feeding back. And he goes, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "Man, my amp's feeding back. I'm trying to adjust it so it'll stop." He said, "Just let it feed back. That's okay, let it feed back." And this one album I did with him called Mule Variations.
Yeah. That's a good
When you
one.
listen to it, you'll hear a dog bark or rooster crow or something. And actually, that studio was on a ranch. And I didn't know it, but Tom had a mic set up outside recording just the sounds of the ranch. So when he mixed the album, when you hear a dog bark or rooster crow, it actually happened at that moment outside. So we're in the studio and he's playing back this stuff and pointing out that that's what he did and telling me about the secret mic. And I said, "Wow, I just love that." And I didn't know it, but he recorded me saying that, listening to that, and he put that on the record too. Way in the background of one tune, you'll hear me go, "I just love that."
I gotta listen again. I love the song on there that's like, what is he building?
Yeah, what's he building?
What
in
is he
there?
building?
He gets mail from Indonesia. What's that song he's always whistling? What's he building in there?
You know, one of my favorite Tom Waits collaboration was with a very odd collaboration. Him and Crystal Gale did the soundtrack for One from the Heart, that movie
Oh.
that was supposed to take place in Las Vegas. but it was in Zoetrope Studios. But if you didn't know that, you would think it was Vegas because it was just so cool, the lighting and stuff. But the music in that movie is so cool, and Tom wrote all of it.
I've never saw it.
You should check it out.
What's it called?
It's called One from the Heart. It's got Raul Julia, Terry Garr, Frederick Forrest. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about a movie called One from the Heart that Tom Waits wrote all the music, and him and Crystal Gale sing all the songs, and they're really awesome. So it's called One from the Heart. It takes place in Las Vegas, but it really takes place in studios, Zoetrope Studios. But it looks like Vegas. It's a really cool. And so Terry Garr, Frederick Forrest, Raul Julia. I forget. There's one of the stars. I see his face in my head. I can't remember. Lady Kazan is in it, and Harry Dean Stanton. Harry Dean Stanton. So anyway, it's a great movie, and the music is very cool in it. So anyway, we're off track. We want to talk about blues and talk about Charlie, not Tom.
Well, I'm doing fine, boy.
So I'm trying to think of who I haven't thought of yet to ask about. Or just let me ask about you. Like, tell us about your evolution, you know, where you started. I know you were born in Mississippi, lived in Memphis, then went to Chicago, then went to California. Tell us about your journey.
Well, as far as harmonica playing, I was born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. We moved to Memphis when I was about 3, and I grew up there. My dad played harmonica, but he didn't really, hardly ever did. I mean, there were some little books around about how to play harmonica, you know, the Marine hymn or whatever it is, but nothing about blues. When I became interested in blues, I just liked the way it sounded. I liked the way there were street singers in downtown Memphis that, even as a little kid, I was fascinated with these guys. Back then, you'd always go downtown on the bus to shop. They didn't have shopping centers. Everything was downtown. And before we go back home, I'd always like to wander around downtown to hear one of those street singers before we went back. Later on, I got to know some of them. But in the beginning, I was too shy to talk to them. And I started going around Memphis to junk stores and used furniture stores looking for old Blues 78s. I didn't know anybody was interested in Blues 78s. So if I found 2 of the same one, I'd throw the worst one away. Probably worth a pile of money today. And I really gravitated toward the harmonica sound, especially the first Sonny Boy, John Lee Williamson. And I had harmonicas. It seemed like all kids had harmonicas back then. It was a common toy. They were real cheap, $1, $1.50 for a brand new harmonica. So I remember listening to Sonny Boy and thinking, man, that sounds so good. I bet it feels really good to play that. Well, you got a harmonica. Why don't you play it? So I went out in the woods and started where I thought nobody could hear me and started just teaching myself how to play blues. And it's interesting that without knowing a thing about it, I gravitated right to second position. And that's what I was playing in without even knowing it. If I had a C harmonica, I thought everything he played was in the key of C. I didn't know I was playing in the key of G on a C harmonica. This was all revealed later as I got older. So I just started playing and teaching myself, and then later on I got to know Furry Lewis and Gus Cannon and Will Shea, a guy named Red Roby, a lady named Little Bit, a harmonica player named Clyde L. Smith, another harmonica player named Johnny Moment, another one named Coy Love. And I didn't know I was preparing myself for a career. I'd have paid a lot more attention. I was just having fun, you know. It was like a hobby or something. I loved the music. I felt like I had to play it, just for myself, if nobody else. And I had no intention of ever doing this for a living or being on a stage or anything like that. It never even occurred to me. So by the time I'm 18, the economy was really depressed in the South, and I kept hearing about all these great jobs up north in Chicago, all these factory jobs with something I'd never heard of, benefits. Wow, I want to get up there and get me some of the benefits. And I'd been doing a little construction work and moving moonshine for these guys. And one day the cops followed me. I know they followed me because I went all the way around the block, and so did they. And I thought, that's it. I'm going to Chicago. That's my sign to get out of town. So when I got to Chicago, I knew nothing about Chicago. To me, it was just a big town way up north with a lot of work, factory work. So luckily, I got the first job I got was a driver for an exterminator. I drove him all over Chicago, which was perfect because I learned the whole city real fast. And I would pass by these clubs with signs in the windows saying stuff like Elmore James and Muddy Waters. And I couldn't believe it. All these heroes of mine, I had no idea where they lived. Somebody told me anybody that was an entertainer either lived in Hollywood or New York City. So I didn't put it together that Chicago had this big blues scene, but I discovered it right away. And at night I'd go to these clubs and hang out. And coming from Memphis, I already knew how to drink, so I fit right in. And people like Muddy thought of me as a fan because I'd request tunes. I didn't ask to sit in, or I never even told anybody I played harmonica or nothing. But a waitress I got to know pretty well told Muddy, "You ought to hear Charlie play harmonica." And that changed everything. So when he found out I played, he insisted I sit in. And a lot of musicians hung out there at Pepper's Lounge where Buddy played all the time. And those guys heard me and offered me gigs. And I thought, wow, I can't believe it. You're going to pay me to play harmonica? Wow, this is amazing. Well, I got to tell you, that got me focused. And until then, it was just something I did for myself, but that changed everything. In a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah.
And here I am.
So, all right, so I want to start asking you about some other people in Chicago, and I want to ask you about, I know my experience with this person is that...
Can y'all hear her?
My experience with this person is that he was pretty cantankerous. I'm talking about Junior Wells.
You want to hear some stories about Junior?
Yeah.
Well, I used to live on 61st Place, and Junior lived right around the corner of Dorchester at 6240. I remember the address, I don't know why, but down at the corner of 63rd and Dorchester was the Red Rooster liquor store. And me and Junior would be passing each other all the time, going back and forth to the...
He liked Tanqueray, right?
I don't know what he was buying, but
Yeah.
I know he liked gin.
Yeah.
Anyhow, one day, Scratch My Back by Slim Harper had just come out. It was a brand new record. And when I walked by Junior's apartment, which was on the ground floor, he lived there with his mom, I could hear that record playing. Well, a little while later, I come back by, and he's still playing it. I thought, Junior's going to play that tune tonight down at Teresa's. So I went down to Teresa's that night too, and I got to sit in earlier, and I played it first. And Junior had some pretty precise words for me. And he knew what I was up to.
That's funny.
He liked to joke around. We both liked to joke around with each other.
Yeah. And I'm sure you must know Buddy, too.
Yeah, I knew Buddy real well. Even before him and Junior started playing together.
Yeah.
And then later they had a regular gig at Teresa's where they both played there. And then they started touring together, recording together. And, they had quite a career as Buddy and Junior.
Yeah.
They were a good match for each other.
Did you ever meet any of the like old
Maybe I'll
timers?
hold your.
Did you ever meet any of the like old timers like Johnny Shines or anybody like that?
I knew Johnny real well.
Yeah?
I used to see him. He had a Polaroid camera, and he would go to clubs and take pictures of couples. And he had little cardboard frames you could put the picture in, and that was his way of making some money on the side. And I don't remember the first time I met him. I know Shaky Walter took me to his apartment one night, and we stood around in the kitchen drinking shots. Shaky always knew someplace to go to get some free drinks. And I remember Johnny Shines would come sit in with us at Rose and Kelly's Blue Lounge at 39th and Indiana. A lot of harmonica players hung out there because Shaky lived just down the street. And Carrie Bell would be there, and Good Rockin' Charles, and John Rencher, and a lot of other harmonica players would drop in to play. And other musicians like John Briam and Johnny Shines would come in and sit in. And I remember Earl Hooker, the first time I met Earl, he was introduced to me as Zeb. I thought, I never heard of this Zeb, but man, the way he plays, how come I haven't ever heard of him? And then I found out he was Earl Hooker. So that was a great place to be playing and meeting all them people.
What about
What was the question?
Elmore James? What about Elmore James? You met?
Elmore James was in Chicago, and I remember he was playing in town, and he was on my. I intended to go see him, but he died before I got to go. There was so much blues happening in Chicago then. I mean, it was Chicago was loaded with blues. So he was on my list. I just didn't get there in time.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I had the same thing happen with Albert King. I was going to go see Albert King, and he died before the concert. Actually, my band was going to open for him out in Western Mass.
Oh, so you never met Albert?
No.
Well, here's an Albert King story.
Okay.
He was contact.
I heard that. Yeah.
I was at Johnny Hooker's house one day, and he invited Albert over for dinner. And somebody had made a big platter of chicken wings. The table was full of food. When Albert comes over, and it's in the wintertime, I remember, because he hangs up his coat and hat, and he pulls those chicken wings over and just starts going through them, just one chicken wing after another. And just go, not talking because his mouth is full all the time. Just rapid fire, eating those chicken wings. And finally, when he's done, there's no more chicken wings left, he gets up, says, well, got a gig, gotta go. He gets his hat and coat, and out the door he went.
Wow. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Another time he played at this club called the Belly Up in Southern California. Albert couldn't read words, but he could read numbers. And on the contract, it said doors open at 6 p.m. You couldn't fool Albert. He knew that the show started at 6 p.m. No, that's when the doors open. No, I see 6 p.m. That's when I'll play. And by God, he got up and played to an empty house at 6 p.m. When he was done, people were just coming in. And he packed up and took his money and left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy.
Can I ask a question?
Did you ever know
Yes.
Forest City Joe?
No, but I knew people that knew him in Memphis, and but I never met him. I sure liked his recordings, though.
Yeah. Do you have any stories about Big Rockin' Charles?
Good Rockin' Charles, he
Good Rockin'
liked us.
Charles.
There was a theater in Chicago, I think it was called The World, and they had only foreign films there, and they were open 24 hours a day. And I'd sometimes go in there to see one of these foreign films, and I'd see Good Rockin' Charles when they were sleeping. That's where You know, for one reason or another, he couldn't go home, or he didn't have a home, so he would sleep in that theater. And Johnny Young would sleep in there too. You know, they had popcorn all night long. And there was a restroom, and, you know, how good can it get, you know?
Karen's
I
got
had
a
a question, kind of a history that's just kind of coming to light, probably maybe obvious for you. But in the last 10 years, they've started talking about how Beale Street used to be wide open, and then when they kind of closed it down, a lot of that stuff went over to West Memphis. And you don't really hear much about the music scene in West Memphis, but did you ever play over there? And do you remember any of that, where BB and Howlin' Wolf and all that
I went
came
over
through?
there, I didn't see those guys play. There was, if I remember right, something like 6th, 7th, and 8th Streets or something in West Memphis. They had a lot of bars and clubs and cafes and a lot of gambling. There were horse races, or dog races, not horse races. And it was pretty wild. I don't know.
There was a club that I know of in West Memphis called Artists. Do you know that place? Artists?
No, I remember there was a Plantation Inn.
That's
Yeah.
the place, I think, a lot of
And
them.
Danny's Club and the Cotton Club. And the Plantation Inn had R&B groups. Isaac Hayes played there, and Finest Newbern played there. And, I don't know who all played there, but the other clubs had people like Charlie Rich and country guys. I don't remember. Eddie Bond and the Stompers. Kind of a rockabilly group. But West Memphis definitely was more open, and there's more going on.
Charlie was telling me the other day when we were talking about being on Beale Street some, because that was that before segregation when you would have been on Beale Street? I mean, during segregation when you would have been on Beale Street?
Well, I was hanging out there when I was a little kid. I mean, I loved Beale Street. It had all those pawn shops and cafes, and it was really alive. And Beale Street Park was really a nice park back then. It had grass and trees. Now it's just I don't know what you'd call it now. It was a neighborhood. You know, people lived there, and that's where Furry Lewis and Will Shade lived. Earl Bell, another guitar player, lived around there. And then they were going to tear it all down. They were in the middle of completely obliterating Beale Street when somebody realized that it could be a moneymaker for tourists. And that's when they stopped tearing it down, and what's left there today is the tourist idea of Beale Street, which is not much like what it was when I was a kid.
What years would you have been going there about?
Well, I moved there in 1947. I don't know the first time I went to Beale Street, but I went off, and it was right downtown.
So maybe late 50s, early 60s.
You can say that.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into Elvis?
Yeah, I used to go to his parties. I had his phone number. I had to call Elvis up and find out. He would rent like a skating rink, or he'd rent the entire Memphis Fairgrounds. He would rent. All the rides would be free, and free hot dogs and free hamburgers and cokes, or he'd rent a theater and have a couple of the latest movies and a whole lot of Roadrunner cartoons, because Elvis loved the Roadrunner. And I didn't ever really talk with him much, no more than just, hey man, how you doing, something like that. But he was a pretty entertaining guy. He was really funny. He'd be making comments about the movie that were pretty hilarious. It was a good time.
Charlotte,
It's cool.
Johnny Nicholas, I saw him last week at this Hilltop Cafe, Johnny Nicholas.
John Nicholas, yeah.
He said to tell you hello. Do you have any comments about playing with him or anything?
Well, John is one of those guys, in my opinion, that really understands blues and knows how to back up a harmonica player and has great taste. And he sent me a box set of his things, but I don't have my LP record player set up yet to listen to it, but I'm looking forward to that. And he's a great guy.
We should come down there to his cafe and play.
It'd be a lot of fun to play with
They
John.
serve great food there, man.
He might come out this way sometime. He's been threatening to come here, and I've been threatening to go there. So someday it'll happen.
I'll pass the word to him.
Okay, thank you.
So when did you move from Memphis to Chicago? Like what year do you remember?
1962, I left Memphis and went to Chicago. I was 18.
Was there a guy in Memphis before you left that used to play in the street called Uncle Ben?
I remember.
I don't remember any Uncle Ben.
So Uncle Ben was an older black guy that used to play in Beale Street, solo, right?
I might have seen him standing up playing.
I don't remember, but what happened was I saw him playing there, and I talked to Teo at the House of Blues, and we got him to come up to Boston to play House of Blues, and my band backed him up. And the first night when he came, he was so nervous, he got really drunk, and he couldn't play. It was so bad. And then the next night, he was so embarrassed, and he was so he felt bad about it. And the next night, he just killed. He played awesome.
Oh, great. Did you tape it?
Yeah, somewhere I think I have a recording of it, yeah. But I'm sure he's long gone now, because that was back in the early 90s when the House of Blues in Cambridge was happening. And, so he was old, really old then.
I know the feeling.
Uncle Ben and his nephews.
Huh?
He used to go under Uncle Ben and his nephews, and used to play right on Beale Street in the
Really?
park.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing him and thinking, I want to, ask him. He'd never been anywhere. He'd never, toured anywhere or been out of Memphis. And so we brought him up to Cambridge, Massachusetts. Yeah. So Annie Raines and Annie picked him up from the airport, right? And he wanted to go right to the liquor store. And that was the mistake that Annie made. She shouldn't have done that,
Oh, I bet he would have got to the liquor store
And
one way or another.
On his own.
Yeah.
On his own. But it was great that he redeemed himself. I mean, that was cool, because I wanted them to see that. He was good,
I'm sorry I missed him.
Yeah. I know who I want to ask you about. One of my favorite, actually a couple of people, my favorite guitar players is Magic Sam. So you must have met him in Chicago.
Sam was a real good friend. We toured together and recorded together one time, backing up Shaky Jake. If Sam had lived, he'd have been a big star, in my opinion, because he had such charisma, and he was a great singer and a great guitar player. And
Yeah.
he just radiated joy when he was playing. He loved to play and put on a good show, and everybody loved Sam. He was just a great guy.
What about recordings, though? The only recordings are these live recordings. You can't. Did he not record?
2 records with Belmar.
Oh yeah.
Well, he did. I remember there was a lot of 45s out
Yeah.
that he made.
Yeah, all the earlier stuff, Cobra.
Yeah.
I always felt like, I don't know if there's any. I haven't heard any stuff with him with harmonica on it, and I always felt like harmonica would go
All
good
the
on his
early
music.
stuff,
Really?
Shaky Jake.
Yeah, him and Shaky
Oh, I
toured
have to
together,
check
worked
that
together.
out. What's the name of the records?
might be on Jake's label.
Yeah, well, and there's a bunch of live stuff that's out. And I think
you gotta
there's
show me
also
some.
a live one that came out that was recorded in Boston recently.
Oh, really?
That just came out, yeah.
Wow.
Maybe a couple of years ago. Now,
Wow.
with Jake, really, was he his uncle or his cousin?
That's what they said.
Yeah.
I tended to
Shaky
believe
Jake,
them.
are you talking about Big Walter?
No,
No.
Magic Sam.
Oh, Magic Sam.
Yeah.
Shaky Jake played harmonica. He had 2 albums on Prestige, I think.
Yeah.
And he and Sam worked together a lot. And, yeah, that was his uncle.
There's a bunch of, the quality's not very good, but him doing Scratch My Back, a bunch of versions of Jake doing that with Sam.
think of who else is there and forgot. Does anybody have any questions? Scott?
Charlie, have you run into Doug McLeod, who's moved back to Memphis
Yeah,
now? Played with him,
I see him fairly regularly. We have dinner together.
he's a really good writer, and fun guy to watch.
Yeah, he comes down here to play often, and I've known him for many years. And so
You
it's
played with
nice.
him, I think y'all were right there.
We did an album together one time.
Cool.
Yeah. I
What are you
don't know the
talking
name
about?
of it.
I didn't hear what you said.
Doug McLeod,
Doug McLeod.
Uh,
Question.
yes, Greg.
Develop our own style, you have your own style. But tell me, like 3 people that you really look up to and you like their style and why.
What's the question?
3 people, he wants to know 3 people that you really like their style and why.
Oh. Well, it's hard to name 3. I mean, there's a lot of, to me, it seems like everybody has something unique to offer that's unique to them, you know. And like, I really like the first Sunday Boy. His playing sounds real simple. When you try to do it, you can't do it. Only he can do that. Jimmy Reed is the same way. People talk about how simple he sounds, but you try it. You can't do it. You won't sound like Jimmy Reed. I don't care what you do. You can spend your entire life trying to sound like Jimmy Reed. It ain't going to happen. So just go for your own sound. It really is the best thing to do. But I like, you know, I appreciate everybody and what they have to offer, whether it's Will Walter or like John Rencher. You know, John Rencher played just a few riffs and he played over and over, but they always sound perfect and they never got boring. It was always the right thing at that moment. I hope that answers your question.
I have a question. Did you ever meet Big Bill Brunsey?
No, I never
No.
met Bill. But I think he lived to be, I think he died around 1956 or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of right.
He's
at the-
another one of my favorites.
He was at the start of that whole folk revival.
Yeah. And went over to Europe and then went played
One of
with
the
Camp
first
Carnegie
guys.
Hall. I mean, he did a lot of things.
Buddy went because he went.
Right, exactly.
People still were talking about him in Chicago like he just walked out of the room, you know? So he had a presence even after he was gone.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to do anything with the Aces?
Who?
The Aces, Louis Myers and Dave Myers and.
Oh, yeah, I knew Lewis was in my band for quite a while. We toured all over the country and recorded at least one album together. And Jack Myers, not
Great bass player, yeah.
he-
Okay.
Jack and Lewis, Fred Belo, and Freddie Roulette. That was my band for
Oh,
quite a
man.
while.
Fred Belo, what a great drummer.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Yeah, Fred would say, Belo's the name, drums is the game.
That's awesome. He was a jazz drummer, right? Before he played blues.
Yeah, but he found out he made more money playing blues.
Yeah.
I saw one of his cards that said, on the bottom, it said, a 1 and a 2.
A 1 and
He
a
knew what to
2.
do.
I think somebody back there had a question. No? I saw a hand. I thought I saw a hand.
Roger?
Oh,
Mr. White, are there people today who are playing, you know, today and are active that you particularly like to listen to?
Well, there's a young guy named Rel Davenport. I really,
Oh, yeah.
and
Young Ralph.
I really like his approach because he's playing harmonica and guitar, and he's not trying to be a shredder. He really is into the subtleties of which are the beautiful parts of blues, and he's into like the old styles and learning it all correctly and playing it with feeling. And
He started down here.
yeah,
He came to Bob Margone's blues workshop right there, one where they have all the different
yeah,
instruments.
yeah.
so the blues is in good hands with young guys like that.
That's
What was his
cool.
name?
Will Davenport.
Rel, R-E-L, Davenport, or they call him Young Rel.
Yeah, there's a bunch of really good young Young Rowell, there's
John
Matt,
Tavius.
Matt McDonald, yeah, Quan Willis, John Tavius Willis.
Yep.
Bunch of guys that are really delving into all the old stuff.
Yeah.
That's good
20
because
years old,
keep it
18
alive.
years old.
Huh? Yeah, but we're still answering questions.
Right.
He's like 18 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I didn't.
It's terrible.
Chris,
Yeah, I've seen you in Australia 4 or 5 times, most of them recently just from last year at Sydney. That's a long way to go. I'm just wondering, do you like touring, or do you get sick of it? Do you keep winding it back?
Do I like touring?
Touring, yeah.
Well, I like Australia, so it's fun to go there. And I really enjoy it there a lot. So I don't tour like I used to when I used to get in a van and drive from coast to coast and border to border. Because back then, there was clubs either work all through the week. Now there's not a lot of clubs
All
went out
those-
of business in the pandemic time. And,
All those anchor gigs are gone.
yeah. So, and that's okay.
Europe is also a big blues fan base here, I suppose. Do you go there a lot?
I haven't lately, but I'm open to the idea.
Somebody else?
Yeah. Mr. Charlie, thank you for coming out.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to see a living legend here in front of us. And for you taking the time to come out and talk to us. But I guess my question is for us wannabes, what general advice can you give us to help us improve and maybe become a decent musician, with your harmonica?
How can you become better? Is that the question?
That's it, that's it.
Well, keep it exciting. Don't let it become a chore. And just keep playing. If you hear something you like, try to play that. Anything that appeals to you, play along with it, learn it, or any part of it you want to investigate. Just keep it. The more you keep learning, the better you get that internal picture of the harmonica, which helps you navigate. And I don't know what else you could do, but play from your heart. Find your music in your heart, and that's what you want to play.
That's really good advice. Really good advice, Charlie.
Thank you.
Does somebody else have a question? Suzanne? He is, but we're taking questions first. I want to make sure everybody's got their questions. Nobody else has a question? Okay. Would you like to play for us?
Oh, okay. Where are we going to play?
Are you going to?
Whatever you want.
How about just some blues in A?
Get us right.
I'll follow you. Thank you very much. That was going through 5 positions and then coming back to the first. So learn that and I'll see you next time.
Sorry about that feedback, Charlie. Sorry about that feedback on there. As Charlie mentioned earlier, he's got some of his new CDs here. If anybody wants to purchase one or
He will
come up
sign
and
it
talk
for
to
you.
him, come on
Come on up
forward.
and
Come
get
on
a
down.
CD and get it signed by Charlie. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. This blood is all. Thank you. You knew exactly what the plug is.